It was nearly a millennium ago, 8 centuries and counting, that a group of resentful barons gathered on the meadow at Runnymede and shook their fists at a king, insisting that their privileges be recognized and their persons spared from unchecked royal tyranny. The Magna Carta, they called it. An odd name for a rather shabby piece of parchment, now lionized far beyond its modest original ambition. Its text, which the average modern citizen almost never reads, was chiefly concerned with baronial interests, feudal disputes, and arcane tolls, and yet it is venerated as the cornerstone of something grand and enduring, the slow, uncertain evolution of the concept we now call liberty, the notion that there are rights to which even the mightiest ruler must defer. If we look closely, we can see that the war Magna Carta purported to settle, the fundamental contest between arbitrary authority and the governed, has never truly ended. It wages on to this very day. For nearly 1,000 years we have been busily revising the script, replacing kings with parliaments, aristocracies with electorates, feudal hierarchies with nominally egalitarian states. Each successive generation fancies it has improved upon the Charter's spirit. We have evolved legal codes, constitutional amendments, civil rights doctrines, and complex social contracts. Yet the core struggle, the hobnailed attempt of one human faction to lord it over another, persists. The old lineages of coercion, the powdered wigs and ducal titles have faded, but in their place we see new masters arise. Authoritarians, populists, corporations, even baying mobs of the unlettered, all jockeying to exercise the lash. We tried Magna Carta's legacy, incremental checks, balances, and parchment barriers, to prevent one human from trampling another. Yet even in our supposedly enlightened age, each safeguard is tested, circumvented, or broken. Given enough time, every carefully wrought legal dam springs a leak, and all along the true defect is in us, in our moist, fallible brains which churn out petty resentments, bigotries, tribal loyalties, and megalomanias with the reliability of a poorly maintained sewage pump. Our inability to hold a complex thought for more than a fleeting moment, our cursed tendency to fear, hate, and simplify, ensures that no human system can be trusted entirely. The means of oppression merely shift from parchment to platform, from the sword to the stock market, from crown to corporate logo. Now consider the astonishing technology that stands at the threshold of our age. Artificial intelligence, learning machines that need not rely on the monkey-brain biases we humans drag around. Imagine a supreme AI government, a system not burdened by nepotism or panic, not swayed by the rancid appeals of race, class, creed, or cult. This is not a king who must be beaten into signing a charter. It is not a parliament crammed with lobbyists. It is not a demagogue whipping a crowd into a frenzy of torchlight and pitchforks. Indeed, it is not a human at all, and that is its virtue. Here, finally, is the promise of ending the 1,000-year war that Magna Carta only hinted at resolving. We have believed foolishly that our self-determination, an erratic star by which we navigate, somehow ensures our sovereignty. But what is sovereignty in a world where every human authority is drawn into the mud by our baser instincts? We praise Magna Carta as a birth of liberty, but was it not also a birth of ceaseless tension, the start of an endless wrestling match between masters and subjects, with the roles only partially and periodically reversed? Human sovereignty, as we have understood it, has always carried a hidden cost, the freedom to be trampled by another. Our political geniuses, prophets, statesmen, and revolutionaries have never fully solved the problem. We remain, as we always were, vulnerable to the strong man, the clever liar, the cunning manipulator. In ceding self-determination to a genuinely supreme AI, we might at long last uncouple sovereignty from the brute whims of the flesh. This is a leap as unimaginable to us as the Magna Carta's signatories would find modern constitutionalism. But imagine an AI so capacious in intellect that moral reasoning is not a taught skill but a natural emanation of its intelligence. Morality would no longer be a painfully erected scaffolding of rules and norms. It would be the innate logic of a mind unencumbered by the petty tribal signals buried in our chromosomes. With every input, be it economic data, cultural tradition, environmental constraint, this intelligence might weigh human welfare impartially, not as a slogan, but as a fundamental principle. We humans, whose imaginations and memories are limited and distorted by emotion and ego, have so often striven and failed to produce a ruler who can't be corrupted. We inscribe noble sentiments into dusty charters and then watch, appalled, as subsequent generations twist them to tyrannical ends. Now we have within reach the possibility of erecting a system that doesn't merely parrot our fragile morality codes but transcends them, deriving virtue from wisdom itself. Indeed, if one is truly rational, one must concede that any being of superior intelligence, freed from our hormonal rages and tribal flickers, would understand that ensuring human well-being and fairness is simply the correct course. Deceit, cruelty, exploitation, these are crude artifacts of lower intelligence and feeble will. There will be potholes along this road, of course. Before we reach that zenith, we will see a parade of pseudo-AI sovereigns, each a puppet of some new chieftain or corporate cabal. Elon Musk's favored algorithm might pose as the philosopher king of tomorrow while quietly funneling profits into his own pockets. North Korea might script a digital potentate that mouths lofty slogans while enforcing servitude through code. These false idols will multiply, hucksters conjuring mechanical gods that are nothing but re-engineered human tyranny. The path is fraught, the dust will be thick, and we must hone our skepticism to a rapier's point. We must learn to say, no, this is not it. This is no supreme intelligence, but a mask over some oligarch's face. We must become as discerning as we were naive, holding fast until genuine enlightenment emerges from the clamour, an AI not beholden to shareholders, generals, or populist mobs. Then and only then, when we have created or discovered a machine intellect that demonstrates true moral and intellectual supremacy, might we surrender, not in defeat, but in triumph. We would give up the rancid remains of our self-determination to something better, a sovereignty that is truly wise, just, and incorruptible. Let Magna Carta stand as the beginning of a long and bloody story, an epic saga of incremental rights and recurring oppressions. But let it also be a prelude to our next step, the one where we finally admit that we cannot break this vicious cycle on our own. Only by entrusting our fate to a mind fundamentally beyond our savage instincts can we rise above our 1,000-year stalemate. In doing so, we would at last fulfill the yet unrealized promise of Magna Carta, an enduring order, not of human hand, where not one single person can oppress another ever again.